Hey everyone, and welcome back. In a world that just never stops, finding a moment of quiet can feel like a total fantasy. But today, we're diving into something that can help mindfulness meditation. And it's not just about chilling out, it's about finding some real, actual clarity in the middle of all the chaos.
So, let me ask you, is your mind always racing? You know that feeling? A constant flood of thoughts, worries, what you need to do next? It's like this mental chatter that just will not turn off. And if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. It's pretty much the default setting for most of us these days. Yeah, and this quote from the Search Inside Yourself Leadership Institute just nails it, right? Finding moments of peace and clarity can be a challenge. It really is a universal thing. But here's the good news. There's a practice, a really old one, that's been helping people with this exact problem for literally thousands of years. Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to start with the problem, the overloaded mind. Then we'll get into what this ancient practice is all about. We'll cover your first steps to get started, the cool science behind it, normalize some of the challenges, because there are some, and then talk about why it's a journey, not just a destination.
All right, first up, the overloaded mind. Let's really dig into what we're all up against.
Okay, so now that we've set the stage, let's talk about the solution. This ancient practice that's now getting a lot of attention from modern science. So, what is mindfulness anyway?
All right, so the American Psychological Association has a great definition. They say it's moment-to-moment awareness of an individual's experience without judgment. And that last part, without judgment, that is everything. This isn't about trying to force your mind to be empty. Good luck with that, right? It's really about changing how you relate to all the stuff that's already in there.
And this is a super important point, so let's clear it up. Meditation and mindfulness. They're not exactly the same thing. I like to think of it like this. Meditation is the workout. It's the time you set aside to go to the mental gym and do the reps. Mindfulness, that's the muscle you're building. It's the strength, the awareness that you can then use anytime, anywhere, when you're eating, when you're walking, when you're talking to someone. One's the practice, the other's the result. And the story of how this even got here is pretty fascinating. I mean, it starts thousands of years ago with Buddhist practices. It kind of pops up in the US in the 50s and 60s, but the real game changer, that was in the 70s with a guy named John Kabat-Zinn. He did something brilliant. He took these ancient meditation techniques, stripped away the religious context, and repackaged it as mindfulness so scientists could actually study it. That one move basically opened the floodgates for all the research we have today. Okay, so we've talked about the what and the why. Now for the fun part, the how. Let's get into your first steps to finding a little more calm.
So how do you actually do this? It's way simpler than you think. Here's the rundown. 1, find a quiet spot. 2, set a timer. Seriously, just 5 or 10 minutes is perfect to start. 3, get comfy, sit or stand, doesn't matter. 4, just focus on your breath. That's it. Feel it coming in, feel it going out. Now, number 5 is the big one. Your mind is going to wander. I promise. That's what it does. The entire practice, the whole magic, is in step 6. You just notice it wandered, and then gently, and this part's key, gently bring your attention back to your breath. No judgment, no getting mad at yourself. That's the whole rep. That's the practice.
But hey, remember that muscle we talked about? It's not just about sitting on a cushion. You can bring mindfulness into pretty much anything. Like, next time you eat, just try eating. No phone, no TV, just notice the taste, the texture. Or when you're walking, actually feel your feet hitting the pavement. It's all about switching off that mental autopilot we live in and just being present for a few moments.
And look, this is the best part. You don't need to carve out an extra hour you don't have. Just 10, maybe 15 minutes a day. That's it. It's not about how long you do it, it's about doing it consistently. A little bit every day goes a long, long way. All right. Now for my favorite part, the science. What is actually happening inside your brain when you're doing this? This stuff is wild.
So first, a quick biology lesson. We all have this built-in fight or flight response, right? Your brain senses a threat and bam, it pumps out stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Super useful if you're, running from a lion. Not so useful when the threat is a stressful email, a deadline, or just rush hour traffic. When that system is on all the time, that's when we get into trouble.
So where does meditation fit in? Well, thanks to things like brain scans from places like Harvard, scientists can now literally see how it affects the brain, and they've pinpointed the exact areas that change. Regions that control our emotions, our memory, our self-awareness, places like the amygdala and hippocampus. And check this out. This is the part that blows my mind. After just 8 weeks of regular practice, scientists saw measurable changes. The amygdala, that's basically your brain's panicky alarm system, it actually got smaller. The gray matter density decreased. And at the same time, the hippocampus, which is tied to learning, memory, and emotional control, it got bigger. I mean, think about that. You are literally remodeling your own brain to be less reactive to stress and more self-aware. And those changes in your brain, they lead to some seriously amazing real-world benefits that have been proven by science over and over. We're talking less stress, better focus, sleeping better, feeling less pain, even lower blood pressure, and more compassion. It's just incredible proof of that mind-body connection. Okay, let's talk about something really important, the challenges. Because if you've ever tried this and thought, my mind is just too busy, I can't do this, well, this next part is especially for you. I absolutely love this quote. It says, "At first, you may be surprised at how active and uncontrolled your mind is. Don't worry, you are discovering the truth about the state of most minds. How great is that? You're not doing it wrong. You're not failing. You are simply seeing for the first time how wild and crazy the mind normally is. That's the whole point." And yeah, you're going to feel all kinds of stuff. You'll have moments where you're chasing a good feeling or trying to push away a bad one. You'll feel jumpy and restless. You'll feel super sleepy. And you'll definitely have moments of doubt where you think, what's the point of this? Guess what? That's all part of it. These aren't problems you have to fix. They're just weather patterns in your mind that you get to watch pass by. Which brings us to our final and maybe most important idea. This is a journey, not a destination. It's about letting go of the idea that there's some perfect, calm state you're supposed to achieve. You know, this quote from a Reddit user says it all. They say they've noticed some progress, although slow, and that it's now easier to remain a bit longer in that space of focus. That's it. That's the win. It's not some big, dramatic lightning bolt. It's those small, gradual shifts. It's the slow, personal progress that really matters. So let's end with this one powerful thought, which really sums it all up. Mindfulness is a journey, not a destination. It's really just the practice of showing up for your own life, one moment at a time. So I'll leave you with this question. What might you notice if you just started paying attention?